Okay, time for another figure sketch in charcoal again, and found a nice reference of a very muscular dude in a classic disc throwing pose. Strong gesture, twisting the torso, his head's lunging forward. Let's see if I can capture that. I'm not sure about the whole lighting situation though. It's quite awkward, but we'll see if I can also capture that. I'm already kind of anticipating now the size and placement of stuff, and of course I must try to think in terms of simplicity. So we get one leg here, and we'll see his chest rotating, so the middle line is more toward the middle here and then turns away. We have his pectorals somewhere over here and sternum, clavicles right there, I guess. Let's before I do anything else have some idea of the head. This very large beard. He's almost like a real life version of Zeus or whatever, or maybe some, well, Norwegian god. Or he's looking down, seeing the head pretty much in a side view, and doing something like this. Gigantic trap muscles here, and then the shoulders are equally muscular. His face looks, or his head looks quite large, but that's also due to the size of this beard. Maybe at a later point that'll show a bit better what the proportions are. Where's the foot gonna be? Maybe somewhere about here. Just a simple wrapping gesture line for the toes, and we see just a bit of the other leg. I'm gonna maybe push that a little bit more backward. All right. Let's have a look in the mirror. All right. I think this is a nice initial sketch. As rough as it is, it's really basically laying the foundation for everything to come. His musculature is absolutely ridiculous. It's amazing. Let's find some of the landmarks. And let's not forget about this hand. Simple gestural statement showing position and size. And we see ginormous lat muscles. And bulging knee muscle or thigh muscle here. The glutes very round, and then the hamstrings have such a mass that they still bulge out. Let's take care of these pecs of his. So it's often a bit of the question how pronounced you want to get with details of, well, muscular anatomy. In this case, as he's such extremely ripped guy, it's fun to try and capture that and also make use of the opportunity to see all those muscles and, well, just have a go trying to capture them. I'm still forgetting the other arm though, so back to the simple lay-in sketch. It's gonna end up with the hand right there, and then basically showing foreshortening in, well, especially the forearm. So I think it's hard to see, but I'm getting quite somewhere now, and I don't know how much more I want to express before I jump to a little bit of shading. There we go. Maybe something like this. I'll show a little bit of the features of the face, eyebrow, and maybe also this template that puts his face a little bit more in proportion, and we start to see why especially the jaw and the chin look so impressive. I'll give him a bit more mass in the neck and a bit more trapezius. Now, one thing I want to try to avoid, which I'm not sure I'm doing quite well, is to make him look very balloony. So all these muscles and bulges, they all feel like, you know, these kind of teardrop shapes. Every once in a while I need to also look for nice straights and very angular rhythms. Otherwise will start to look too much like you know, the Michelin guy or the kind of balloon animals. So I think this is a mistake I have often made, that things are a little bit too, well, uniform all over the place. So all straight lines or all swervy curves, etc., where you can definitely opt for more of an interplay in these different lines to basically get the best of both and show a nice variation in the sketch. Somewhere there would be the disc. And well, that's the gesture, I suppose. He's looking rather impressive. I think this hand might be a bit bigger. It is more towards us, closer towards us than the hand far away, which, by the way, should definitely be smaller. I can lightly erase and come in with a new attempt, and let's not make it look like a deteriorated piece of broccoli or whatever. Something like this. That's a bit better, I suppose. Let's have a look again. Yeah, now it's really receding away from us in space. Get the angle joint and the Achilles heel with a little bit of a bulge for the heel here, bearing the weight. And the other foot, well, I'll have to partly invent it. But it's bound to look something like this. Okay. More bulge for the shoulder. Okay, so the shadow situation or lighting situation is fairly unclear, but there's a general light coming from, well, generally above, maybe slightly off to the left, and I'll just stick to that. There's a lot of reflected light as well. There's definitely some secondary light source, I think, but let's not care about that. Let's just focus on a single treatment, and what I'm doing now is basically looking for the shadow shapes as a consequence of a light coming from above, slightly from the left, but that's it. No more complicated than that. So along the traps, and yes, I am setting up these shapes quite strongly, or drawing them in quite strongly. So this would all catch light, which is maybe already a consequence of secondary light source. We do see some light hitting this area, and then the neck is wrapping away from the light. Let's see, I have to make sure that I also find this plane of the neck here, which is catching light and then wrapping away. So this is shadow, and just to give myself a bit easier reviewing, I'll already incorporate that in the shadow. And there is a little bit of light still hitting his pectoral here. I think I want to keep that, and so we come in, and all this is shadow. Also the beard, minus maybe the temple here, and the rest of the face, shadow. Again, keeping it simple as possible, and having a look at that, well, simplified statement first. I always like that phrase, the simplified statement. I think I Heard Nathan Fauch saying it once. And it's definitely true. If that simplified statement is working, then probably the entire piece will be working, at least on a course level. Course with OARSE. And yeah, I see that this part of the hand is completely obscured. There's probably some spotlight, directional light from above. So I can obscure that as well. I do want to maybe incorporate a bit of shadow on the floor and at least give the impression that he's grounded. Now I'm left-handed, but working on this scale, and especially for something as simple as, well, broad strokes in a straight manner, I can use my other arm, of course, or my other hand. Man, I again grabbed the kind of extra charcoal, which I didn't want to, but okay. Let's see. Not this one. And well, we have ourselves a nice figure sketch already. Very muscular guy. I do see a lot of muscle mass still here. I think this one is called a vastus externus, if I'm not mistaken. It's turning downward so much it's bulging outward that it's catching shadow, or to put it better, not catching light. Yeah, that's coming up there. Okay, now I have to see where I need to clean it up a bit, and I have to admit that with this particular charcoal the cleanup is a little bit more cumbersome. It feels nice when sketching, but it's really quite messy, as you can probably see. But hey, it'll have to do now. And let's do some smudging. Maybe I'll use a little bit of a tissue paper this time. Wrapping along with the surface to optimize that kind of illusion of three-dimensional form. And here as well. Interesting. It's really quite easy to manipulate this stuff. Let's fuzz this all out. And well, we get this nice loose kind of treatment. There's enough structural information and foundation to kind of have a little bit of guidance for the eye. At least I think so and hope so. But as long as that is true for me, then it's okay. Because I can still then do with it what I think needs doing. And well, there's plenty to do in this case. Let's have a look. Yeah, the image on camera is a bit distorted due to perspective, but maybe I can turn it quickly a little bit straight on. It's not at a perfect angle, but you get some idea. And time for the needed eraser. Let's go back to my reference. Maybe also keep at the ready a blending stump. Let's see, I think I wanna show the light hitting here on the deltoids. And also showing the trapezius muscle catching light. And obviously this triceps is catching muscle. With the light coming a little bit from the left, we see this gargantuan pectoral muscle catching light, and it's showing really its kind of plaquette-like nature in the way the light keeps catching this side plane, and then out from underneath there comes the abdominal area. I do think I could do with some more strong or heavy duty kind of eraser. And he's wearing some, well, I think it's kind of a thong-like underwear piece. I'll definitely throw that in there. At this point I'm basically painting a bit and seeing what I need to refine or want to refine. Sometimes it's not a matter of needing to refine something, but just wanting it because you think it'll make for a better illusion. For example, a little bit of this side plane on the head. I want to express a bit more than I see in the reference. And well, it's a little bit cumbersome, but I think I should take care with the silhouette and the cleaning up of the strokes that go into the background, but every once in a while leaving a stroke flow from the figure into the background or from the foreground into the background is okay. And that's up to yourself, how far you want to take that well, merging of the background or isolation of it with or from the foreground. I usually like a little bit of merging here and there. Well, quick sketch, nothing too spectacular. Oh yeah, I also have this nice waxy pencil which might be nice to use for some final lines. It's really soft. Very nice. Now, there used to be also a time when I would try to prevent showing lines in the work, thinking that if a sketch is going to be rendered, then there's no more place for lines in it. But I have to say I'm getting a bit more nuanced about that statement. There's room for line because we're just sketching, we're not making some 3D computer-like render or hyper-realistic oil painting. I'm just sketching for the fun of sketching. So if that means that I can make the sketch more fun and clear to look at by incorporating line, then, well, I think I'm allowed to do so. Again, getting more fine-grained and detailed. Secondary pass. Getting murky. With some strong shadows, and definitely here the underside of the leg or the far side underneath, and the body here. I'm doing one more pass, ever so slightly darkening the overall value. Kind of messing up the ear. Was a bit too lazy. Ah well. Let's grab our blending stump. Do some light blending, finger painting. He's a really rugged dude. Yeah, a little bit. Let's see. A little bit too much light on the neck. I'll blend that in. So there we go. I think the neck is still a little bit too light. The overall tonal difference in the shadow areas is a bit too large. It's kind of distracting me. So simpler is better. It's starting to look like something that I can live with. Yep. Yeah, that's better. A little bit of erasing again. Well, I think we have a decent sketch here. I'll show a little bit of kind of speed lines, which help to maybe kind of sell that idea of how he's going or swooping towards the back with the disc. Yep. Maybe a bit too inconsistent here. And I really like to, or like also the fact that not everything is Control-Z-able or whatever. I have one layer and I have plenty of room to correct mistakes, but I have to think carefully about what I want to try. And it just works so direct that it allows me for a pretty speedy process and a lively end result. And it sometimes yields terrible results, and that's also fine. Okay, some final erasing, and I think I'll call this one quits. We get a nice kind of chiaroscuro type of sketch with a bulky guy swinging back a disc. Well, I'll see if I can rotate it a bit and get it a bit more straight at the camera. More like this. Well, I suppose that's fine. And that completes this sketch. Thanks all for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.